Whew, okay, you guys, here I am. Hold on a second. Let's see. Okay, guys, let's get into it. How long has this been going on for maybe about an hour or so already? I will try to find the criminal complaint and post it for you guys. I did find the indictment. I've got that. Um, I'll post it on the Google Drive or Patreon, and you guys can have it, and read it yourself, or we'll read it or something at some point. I like to know what's going on, but hey, we're wigging it on today, okay? Let me see. Let me get this set up a little bit. We are winging it at the moment, okay? Um, Let me cover up some things, okay? Okay, y'all. Okay, that's perfect right there. Okay, guys. Let me go off camera. All right, so the judge is giving her instructions to the jury. So just so you know, they did jury selection, I believe. They started that last week at some point. Today is actually day one, opening statements, all of that. So all of the otherness happened last week, and today they are getting started with testimony. So in theory, this is day whatever, but this is really day one testimony. You all know that, right? Anyway, let's get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and get this started, and we're not gonna try to delay stuff. If something interesting comes up, I just can't help myself. But for the most part, we're gonna keep it cute, and we'll talk when there's a break. Okay? All right. Now, ma'am, hopefully is going to use her microphone. I don't like these whisper trials at all. Okay.
In the news media. Obviously, y'all can see that there are cameras. You may not watch those accounts on replay.
She's telling them all of the things. So let's see her swear everybody. And I wish she would put her microphone on.
So help you God. Put your hands in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start with the opening. And let me just also say one thing in case you are concerned. It is the law that the cameras will not show your faces. So any filming that is done during the course of this trial, you guys will not be visible on, okay? Just for whatever concern you might have there. All right, Mr. Dwayne, opening statements.
Thank you. November 17th, 2020.
Okay. The volume's okay. I was getting ready to go to court TV just to see if the volume was better, but this seems to be okay. So we'll go with it. Okay. Um, I think I'm gonna put it back the way it was. My bad, y'all. Okay. I'm gonna put it back the way it was. Okay. Sound seems to be okay now.
It's supposed to be a normal day at Primary Pediatrics on Lakeview Road. A day full of children with runny noses, getting their shots, and hopefully a sticker or a sucker on the way out. It was anything but an ordinary day. That morning, Carter Ambrose, 2 years old, was rushed in a diaper and a wet t-shirt with a pulse that was rapidly disappearing. He was cold to the touch. The bottoms of his feet were white. His eyes were rolled back in his head. Primary Pediatrics did what they could. But they're a pediatrician's office. They're not an emergency room. They're not EMS. They performed CPR, life-saving measures for that little toddler until an EMS got there. EMS took him to Peach County Atrium, where he was pronounced dead. And Carter had issues breathing. He was on medicine. There was a breathing treatment sometimes that he needed. And at first glance, this looked like a child that had succumbed to this breathing issue until the autopsy was performed. The cause of death in this case is blunt force injury to the abdomen, causing a lacerated liver. This is a homicide. No doubt about it. And that weekend, Carter was with his mom, the defendant. Now, his biological father, Kadeem, who will testify, they're not together anymore. So mom, the defendant, picked up Carter Friday from daycare. He wasn't injured. He seemed okay. Maybe that evening he said, my tummy hurts. My tummy hurts. But other than that, there was nothing going on. The daycare people are going to come and want to testify that Carter was fine. There were no injuries to him. And then the next day, Saturday, Carter and the defendant went to the defendant's grandfather's house. And again, he was fine, happy, playing. Typical 2-year-old boy. Then the defendant had Carter by herself until Sunday evening when her new boyfriend, Kianna, arrived. You are going to hear that from that Sunday evening until the day that Carter died, he was having stomach pain. He was throwing up. It wasn't until he went lifeless that anybody did anything to get that little boy any help at all. It would have helped to have called Carter's father, who's a firefighter and works in EMS. But the defendant wouldn't let him speak to his child over the phone, wouldn't let him see him via FaceTime, nothing. It is only when Carter is at primary pediatrics and is on death's door that she finally tells Kadeem, get here. Carter's not doing well. According to the medical examiner, whom you will hear from, he had multiple blunt force injuries. And when we say multiple, we don't mean 2 or 3. He had quite a few to his abdomen. He also had injuries to his genitalia, an injury to his head. He had a massive laceration to his liver, as well as an injury to his pancreas. Evidence of repeated blows to this child. You are also going to hear, you're going to hear from 2 people. One who's retired medical examiner, and the other was the former chief medical examiner at the time. And that is the time of death. That is the time with which the injuries can be inflicted, or were inflicted, I should say. 1 to 3 days prior to the death of the child. And you're going to hear from them. And that time frame is the time frame of this defendant, Kianna Davis, sole access and sole control over this child. Now, one thing you're going to notice, because I've said Kianna Benton, he's not sitting over there. It's Kianna by herself. His charges are still pending. There's no deals with him. All right, they're just separated for the time being. That's it. During this trial, you will have the urge, I suspect, to try to pick Who did it? Which one beat him? Did they both beat him? Sorry to tell you that I do not have the answer to every question that you are going to have in this trial. But the testimony that you are going to hear is that the beating or beatings that this child sustained only when the defendant and the boyfriend or the boyfriend had custody. Sole access to this child. They are parties to each other's crimes. The case is entirely circumstantial. There's no video recording, there's no confession, there's no DNA evidence. But you are going to hear from a number of witnesses. You're also going to observe, see, watch, hear that this defendant had multiple interactions with law enforcement. She had a conversation with law enforcement while waiting outside the apartment as law enforcement executed a search warrant on the apartment, or I should say searched the apartment pursuant to her consent. But there were 3 other statements that she gave to police, and not one time did she point the finger at Kianna. Mother of a child who's been beaten and died of a lacerated liver. She doesn't want to do that. But she talks to people. She comes up with all sorts of stuff. Jumped off the bed or the couch. You're going to hear why that's not how this injury occurred. Or diabetes. Or you're not going to hear much of a reason at all. CPR did it. Handlebars of a bike did it. You could think of a number of issues, but you'll hear GBI experts tell you why this is a homicide and not an accident, not the result of some medical condition. The defendant is absolutely guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of murdering her child. But what is reasonable doubt? Now we're going to come back at the end of this. The judge is actually going to read you a bunch of law. She's going to define reasonable doubt. Right? That is a doubt for which a reason can be given. Right? In the mind of an honest juror seeking the truth. And you're going to have a lot of pieces, circumstantial pieces. The biggest of which is these injuries occurred and only this defendant and her boyfriend had access to you. She killed her child. I'm going to prove it to you. The evidence is going to bear it out. Thank you.
Mr. Cruz, is that with you?
Yes, please, the court. Mr. Dwayne, Ms. Holland, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good afternoon. As has been indicated, we thank you for being here. I think it goes without saying that we are here for some, this is a very, very serious matter. Mrs. Davis is here proclaiming her innocence in this matter. As has been read to you, this offense allegedly occurred between the 15th of November of 2020, November the 17th of 2020. Here we are, July the 13th of 2026, more than 5.5 years later. Now, as part of our opening remarks, we are to tell you what we expect evidence to show. And also, it's my responsibility as the attorney for Ms. Davis to point out to you certain things that are important. One thing that lawyers like me are always, and prosecutors also, are always concerned with are timelines. When did certain things happen and at what time? Okay? And that's important for you to keep into consideration whenever you're listening to the evidence in this case and deciding this case. You will, at the end of the case, you will have a copy of the indictment that reflects all these charges that have been mentioned to you. This indictment was returned by the Houston County Grand Jury on it was returned and filed in the clerk's office October the 18th of 2023, almost 3 years later. So the first thing that comes to mind is why wait 3 years? Okay? And you'll see that the evidence will reflect in this case that this child died on November the 17th of 2020. Okay? That there was an autopsy done on this child soon thereafter by the GBI. But one thing that you'll see is that the autopsy results were not released for almost a year. And you have to wonder why. And maybe the state can clear that up. I don't know. We'll see. You will see that like I say, the autopsy report where the pathologist stated that this was a homicide, but based on a lacerated lip, like I say, was released, was signed off by the coroner, was signed off by the pathologist with the GBI, then signed off by the coroner almost a year later. Okay, so that puts us in 2021, a year later. Okay, and once again, this case was not indicted for 2 more years after then. Why? Those are things that you can take into consideration whenever you're studying this case and listening to the evidence in this case. And we'll hear witnesses in this case. And one thing that I'm certain that Judge Adams brought to your attention today, and at some point in time, Judge Lumsden will at the conclusion of this case, is that the burden of proof is always on the government to prove each one of these charges against Ms. Davis beyond a reasonable doubt. In other words, they have to prove each and every essential element of each crime charged beyond a reasonable doubt. Ms. Davis has absolutely no burden in this case. In other words, she can sit there and say nothing, and you can't hold that against her. She may or may not testify. We don't know yet. We don't know what the state's going to put up yet. But at the appropriate time, the judge will instruct you that if she should decide to remain silent, you cannot infer or insinuate or hold that against her in any way. A lot of people will say, well, she needs to explain to us what happened. No, she doesn't. She doesn't have to. It's not her burden. She doesn't have to prove to you that her only child died because he fell off a bed or bumped into a table or on the handlebars of his little bicycle, that they're going to show you a picture of him on his bicycle. Or that it was done somewhere else, or who it was done by. You can take into consideration the fact that she is jointly indicted with her then boyfriend, Kianna Davis. Sponge Day, Mr. Benton is going to come in the courtroom and testify. He doesn't have to testify. Now, I mean, the state can give him some sort of immunity, but we'll see where that travels. That the boyfriend is not sitting there with us, but he's gonna come in and testify against her. We'll see. Now, like I say, you need to take your evidence from the witness stand. This case, and understand, in my years of coming down here trying cases, and I've tried a lot of murder cases before good jurors, where the charge of malice murder, and it'll be explained to you later by the judge, malice aforethought, something akin to premeditation or something akin to planning. In other words, someone had malice in their heart. You've heard the term an abandoned and malignant heart. You've heard that before. That's why a murder happened. And in the alternative, the state sometimes will say, well, we think it's a felony murder based on another offense, a predicate offense, if you would, that as a result of that predicate offense results in the death of someone. And the felony murder, the first is cruelty to children in the first degree. And the indictment, of course, says that the baby died, was beaten with an object, the nature of which was unknown to the grand jury. In other words, they don't know how the child died. By what means? It was by a bowling ball or a baseball bat or whatever. Okay, that's for them to prove, and for them to bring their pathologists in here to prove to you. Now, some of you have medical experience, but they have to bring in, the state has to bring in evidence to show some sort of blunt force trauma, if you would. There's also the felony murder charge of aggravated assault, and they don't know how, but they're saying that the injuries to the child resulted as a result of an aggravated assault or a weapon of some sort. They have to prove that. But the difference in this case, I submit to you, in my experience in handling criminal cases, is murder in the second degree. That's different from what you generally hear in cases. That's generally different from, if you've been on grand juries in this county or any other county, you don't get too many murders in the second degree where they're saying that the child died irrespective of malice as a result of some sort of failure or neglect to seek medical attention for the child. And it gets a little complicated here, okay? Now, like I say, I don't know if Ms. Davis is going to testify or not, but you will see that the time that this happened, that she's now 35 years old. She was a school teacher at the time, teaching classes through the Central Georgia Technical College, where she was teaching classes in conjunction with the Houston County School District, as well as she'd go to Jones County, and she was teaching on the days that this child, there will be testimony about his stomach hurting. You'll hear that, okay? You will also hear that this child, he was 2 years and 10 months, Carter was, and that he wasn't even a week old and he was already having problems with breathing and asthma and things of that nature. And you will hear, we expect that you'll hear from the people that were treating him at this pediatric place that they treated him, that he was hospitalized, that he's always been a sickly child of some sort, as children are prone to do sometimes. And that at the time that, and of course, the father of this child is this Kadeem Ambrose, and you'll hear from him. And he lived with Miss Davis during that period of time, and they talk about how we expect his testimony will be, assuming he's going to be here. But anyway, we expect them to be that they lived together, and then their relationship busted up. Okay, but during their relationship, the decision was made by Miss Davis to move. She moved to this apartment complex off Lakeview Road, which is not even 3 football fields away from this pediatric place, so she could be near her doctors. And there'll be a bunch of people that will come testify, I guess, from the pediatric place that Miss Davis was there often with her child. Okay? And of course, the state would have you believe that that should mean nothing, that she moved where she was living at to be within 300 yards of where the doctor's office was at in case there were problems. Because once again, the child, within the week after that child was born, was already in the hospital and exhibited sickly behavior or sickly symptoms throughout his young life. You know, once again, the responsibility is on the state to prove their charges against all these charges, all 7 counts, beyond a reasonable doubt. You'll hear the evidence, and I ask you, and I thank you for being here. Because like I say, this happened 5.5 years ago. Miss Davis has been patiently waiting to be sitting in that chair in front of a jury of 12 people plus 2 alternates to show you, to exhibit to you that she is not guilty of any of these charges. You know, I with you am patiently waiting to hear what the witnesses are going to say for the state. As Mr. Dwayne has mentioned to you, this is not a case of, you know, there's 2 types of evidence. There's direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. And Mr. Dwayne has said in his open remark that there's not any direct testimony, or there's not going to be any direct evidence that this lady or anyone struck the blows that ended up killing the child. Okay, it's circumstantial evidence. Okay, in other words, the circumstantial evidence that the state is proposing is that, and of course, the doctors are going to come in here, or the medical people are going to say, well, based on their experience, injuries of this type have to result, or can result, anywhere from 24 to 72 hours before someone dies. Not necessarily. Okay? And once again, it's not for Miss Davis to have to come in here and point the finger at anybody. Okay? They're trying to prove that she committed these offenses. I submit to you that she did not. And, you know, once again, I don't know how adamant I can be to explain to you her innocence. I don't know how adamant she can be to explain her innocence. This is a long day coming from her, or for her. I'll be able to ask questions of witnesses for the state. And, once again, as I mentioned before, if there's anything that I do that upsets you or hold it against me, she has lost her only child. Her only child. Almost 6 years ago. She's not guilty of any of these charges, folks. Not guilty. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Dwayne, if you will call your first witness, please.
State calls Taylor Sledge.
All right. We have Taylor Sledge. Mr. Davis, will you get the witness, please?
Ms. Sledge, if you would raise your hand. You swear affirm testimony you shall give here before this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, I do. You would state your name for the record, please. Taylor Sledge Ragsdale. And if you don't mind, would you spell your name? Taylor, Taylor, Sledge, Sledge, Ragsdale, Ragsdale. All right, thank you, Ms. Sledge. If you would, tell us what you do. Right now, I work as a paraprofessional at Wyoming Hospital. Have you always done that? Before that, I worked at primary pediatrics. When did you work at primary pediatrics? From August 2020 until last summer. And what did you do at primary pediatrics? First, I worked up front, and then I became a tech, and then I was the lab manager. So you said you started at primary pediatrics in August of 2020, did I hear that right? Yes. Let me take your attention to November of 2020, so just a little while later. You were the receptionist at that point? I was. And in November of 2020, do you recall a man bringing a small child into the office on the 17th? Yes, I do. Hey, tell me what you recall about that. I remember him bringing him into the office. It was a black African-American male. The little boy was limp in his arms, and he just said he needed some help. Did he indicate to you what was wrong with the child? No. And what did you observe about the child? He was limp, he was lifeless, wasn't moving. He was in the arms of him. And what did you do when you saw this? Called back to the back to get some help and then called 911. And this is a pediatrics facility. Why would you call 911? To get help because the child wasn't breathing, he wasn't responsive. So to get more emergent help. Now, when this male came in, did he say anything to you? He just said that he needed help. What was his demeanor like? Was he rushed? He seemed wasn't really concerned. He just was, he brought it. I mean, you could tell that the little boy needed help, but he didn't show any emotion. And would you happen to remember what he was wearing? A white tank top or a white shirt and khaki shorts, I believe. So you saw this man bringing an essentially lifeless child in and then called 911? Yes. And Ms. Sledge, I want you to think back about anything that this man said to you. Did he tell you who he was, anything like that? Did he say anything about the child calling, anything like that? He said he was fighting him on the ride to the office. But nothing about him laying on the couch.
Judge, that's a leading question.
Objections overruled.
Nothing about him falling off the couch or falling out the board. Nothing further at this time.
Mr. Greer, chief with you.
Just a couple questions, John. Good morning, ma'am, or afternoon. Tell me your last name again.
Ragsdale?
Ragsdale,
Yes.
and you were a sledge at the time, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you went to work at this primary pediatrics August of 2020.
Yes, sir.
So you worked as a receptionist at that place from August until when?
As a receptionist, I was a receptionist for about 4 months, and then I moved to the back as a tech.
As a,
Tech,
what was the tech do?
to pull them back, get their weight, height, and get them prepared for the doctor.
Okay. But on November the 17th, and is that when it was, November the 17th, 2020,
Yes, sir.
had you had any medical training?
To know whenever someone comes in and needs help, yes.
Okay, I mean, what training, where did you get your training at?
And primary pediatrics.
I mean, you didn't get it from school or from a technical college or anything like that?
No, sir.
So you worked as a receptionist, and I guess by being a receptionist, you acquired knowledge to be able to question people when they came in the front door.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I take it that on this particular day, you don't remember what time of the day it was?
We opened at 8:30, like 8:40-ish.
All right. And this fellow, was his name Kadeem Ambrose that brought this child in?
No.
Who was the man's name? Keon Benton?
Yes.
Was that his name? Okay. And he brought the child in about 8:40 that morning?
Yes.
Is that right? Did he identify who the child was?
No.
Okay. And as a receptionist, you didn't know what to do. You just called for help. Is that right?
That's correct.
And really, that's all you did.
Yes, sir.
In other words, did someone else in the office ask you to call 911?
No, I need to call 911.
Oh, okay. How did you know that?
I'm a mom. I would call
Pardon me?
I'm a mom, so I just instinct to call 911 when you see
And
something.
how many people were working in the doctor's office that day?
20, 25 people.
Okay. And so you immediately called 911 and then was it Dr. Waters that came up first?
No, it was Dr. Ford.
Dr. Ford?
Yes.
Okay. And did you help administer any tests to the child?
No, I did not.
You just stepped back and called 911?
I stayed at the front and called 911.
Okay. And that's the only connection that you had with this case? Is
Yes,
that
sir.
right? Do you know Miss Davis?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen her before?
No, sir.
Judge, that's all I have, and I thank you.
Anything else for this witness?
No, she makes.
Ragsdale, you may be excused. You're free to go or stay as you wish.
Thank you.
Emily Baker. Can you raise your right hand, please? You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. You can be seated. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Not that one, Miss Baker, that's the extra one. That one in front of you. I know, we should move that so that it's not distracting you. Go ahead.
It's Emily Baker.
Is that just a common spelling? Is that a common spelling, Emily Baker? Can you spell it before report, please?
EMILYBAKER.
Ms. Baker, how are you employed currently?
I am employed under the Air National Guard full-time. I work at Primary Pediatrics on Mondays.
Okay, how long have you worked with primary pediatrics?
Before I joined the military, I was there 7 years.
7 years? Okay, so did you work there in 2020,
Yes, sir.
November of 2020?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you recall on November 17th of 2020, does that day stick out to you at all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why?
That is the day that Carter Ambrose came in and they had a problem.
Okay, so what were you doing?
It was the beginning of the morning, so we didn't really start working yet, and it was still kind of at the end of COVID. And then we had a call from the front stating that there was a child, guy with a lifeless child. So we went out there, me and one of the nurses. So we went out, told him to come back, we put him in a room. Went in there, asked the guy, what we had to assess what was going on. And then realized that he needed attention fast.
So let me back up. You said that you were in the back?
Yeah, so
What were your duties?
So I'm a medical tech.
Okay.
So I usually work with the patients, find out what's going on, get vitals on them,
Okay.
and then put it in the system, and let the doctors know what's going on.
Okay. So you're at work this Tuesday morning?
Yes.
Just like it's an ordinary day, right? Okay. And then you said a man came with a child?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know who that man was?
No, sir.
Okay. Who was the child?
It was Carter Ambrose.
Okay. Did the man know who the child was?
Yes.
Did he provide any of his information?
Any of
Carter's.
Carter's information?
Correct.
He provided, the basic information that he knew.
Okay.
We found out that he was, a boyfriend of the mom.
Okay. All right. But you didn't really know at that time.
Right.
All that. Okay. So where did you first see Carter?
In the waiting room, like when, you're like, our doors are right here, but like if you're facing the parking lot, we're to the, our door's to the left, so that's the forward hall. So, and when they come in, like, he was in the lobby, so he was holding Carter in his arms, and so we directed him to a room,
Okay. Was it redirected into a
me
room?
and Casey,
Okay.
the nurse.
Casey, what's Casey's last name? Do you recall her last name?
Hold on, I went right.
Is it Copper?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
So you ushered Carter to a room?
right, correct.
Okay. And how many people went to that room?
So me, Casey, Dr. Robert Ford was in there. There was a nurse practitioner, like about 2 nurse practitioners, and another nurse that I recall.
And what was the atmosphere like with everybody in there? What was going on?
Everybody was just working together. I know someone, they were going to get IV so they could start an IV. Dr. Robert Ford was on the table, was listening to him, and then he could tell like there was barely any heartbeat. So he got on the table, started doing compressions. So it was kind of like calm chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would come out, call 911, and they asked for address, phone number, all the basic information, and we were just relaying it back and forth.
So what, I think, did you say Dr. Ford?
Dr. Robert Ford.
Robert Ford, okay. You said, I think, compressions, is that
He
right?
was doing CPR.
CPR, okay.
They did the shot machine on it. So that-
EKG.
Yeah.
Okay. When you first saw the child, what did he look like?
He was limp, lifeless. The bottom of his feet were like white. There was no color to him, and his eyes were rolled in the back of his head.
And the man who brought him in, did he say anything about the child's situation?
Once we got in the room, he did.
What did he say?
He stated that the night before, that he was vomiting. And then he said he gave him a breathing treatment. And he said that, I'm not sure if it was before or after the breathing treatment, that he was bent down on his hand, kind of, I'm assuming like a seizure, he was having a seizure. And then he said, before he brought him in, he said that, he had a bowel.
Had a bowel movement. Did he say the child was throwing up or anything like that?
Yes, that was, later, or during the night.
Okay. And so you called 911. So did EMS show up?
They,
Now, I know it was a long time ago, but do you recall roughly how long the child was there at primary pediatrics receiving care before EMS came?
I would say at least 20 minutes
Okay.
before they arrived.
Nothing further this time around.
Mr. Drew?
Thank you. Your last name is Baker, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Baker, my name is Jeff Broom. I'm a lawyer from Warner Robins, here representing Ms. Davis. Have you ever met Ms. Davis?
I might have seen her passing at the doctor's office, but
Might have seen her where?
possibly at the doctor's office, but not personally.
Okay, and you were there at this pediatric place for, say, 7 years?
Yes, sir.
From when until when?
I started in January of 2013 or 14.
Oh,
And then I was there 7 years, and then I went to the military, and I recently came back to work. I just work on Mondays.
oh, you worked at this same place on Mondays?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Now, after this event occurred, did someone from one of the doctors from the business there ask you to write up a statement?
Yes, sir. I believe everyone that was there that day wrote a statement, and we sent it.
And you wrote up a statement, did you not?
Yes, sir.
When you met with the district attorney's office recently, you had a chance to go back over this statement, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And that you recall in writing the statement that the child was taken, when there was evidence that the child was in a state of distress, that the child was taken to room number 4, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the child was taken there by this male that brought the child in.
Yes, sir.
In other words, how was he transported?
He was holding him in his arms.
Okay.
So Carter was laying in his arms.
Okay.
And then,
At any time, did you ever hold the child?
no, sir.
At any time, did you ever touch the child?
Probably possibly to get a heart rate, but
Okay.
just the usual vitals.
All right. You had mentioned something earlier about, you say the man said something about the child had a seizure, is that right?
I'm not saying he said he had a seizure. I'm saying the details that he provided, it sounded to me like it could have been a possible seizure. I'm not saying that the child did.
Okay, but you never mentioned that in whatever you wrote.
Like, I just said that the child was biting down on him.
Okay, but nothing about a
No, sir.
seizure.
No, sir.
I mean, there's a difference, is there not, between a child biting down on something and having a seizure? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, I'm not trying to trick you, I'm just trying to
Yes, sir.
see what happened. And Dr. Robert Ford was working with the child, is that right?
Yes, sir.
I guess nurse practitioner Gaddy was there helping Dr. Ford, is that right? You
Yes, sir.
recall?
Yes, sir.
Was Ashley Howard a nurse practitioner?
She's the nurse.
A nurse, registered nurse?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know who the other nurse practitioner was?
I believe it was Amy Wood.
All right. Good. Okay. And that, did you yourself call 911 or did you instruct Taylor Sledge to call 911?
I myself called 911.
You did, okay. And Do you know who you talked to with 911?
I don't remember, no, sir.
And you called 911, and they put you through to the 911 center that's off Corwitz Parkway, or do you know?
I don't know.
I take it at some point in time, then someone, EMS came out, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And do you know where they were from?
No, sir, I don't.
Did you go outside whenever EMS came?
No, sir.
You just stayed in the building, is that
Yes, sir.
right? Did you have, after you called 911, did you really have any other involvement in this matter?
No, sir.
I mean, you weren't asked to do any work that required a technician, is that right?
At that point, there, no, sir.
And once again, from the time that this man brought the child in until EMS got there was probably about 20 minutes, is that right?
That's wrong.
Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I have nothing else. Thank you, Ms. Baker.
Thank you, Ms. Becker. You may step down, you're free to go or stay as you wish.
Thank you.
Call your next witness, please.
Judge, the state calls Amanda Gaddy.
Scotty, this way, please.
Ms. Gaddy, if you would, raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony you will give here before this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If you would, state your name for the record, please.
Amanda Danielle Gaddy.
If you don't mind spelling your name too.
Full name? Yes. AMANDADANIELLEGATTIE.
Thank you, Ms. Gaddy. And you're a little bit soft-spoken, so if you could speak into, that one doesn't work.
Now, goodbye. Ms. Davis, move that, please, so that we quick can view the folks. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Gaddy, if you would, tell us what you do.
I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner at Primary Pediatrics,
And how long have you worked in primary pediatrics?
10 years.
And you are a nurse practitioner. Tell me what degrees you have.
All of them? I have several, sorry. So my first degree is health information technology, and then I went back and got my RN, and then returned again for my bachelor's, and returned finally for my master's degree.
So how long have you been a nurse practitioner?
I'm a nurse practitioner of 10 years.
No, you would have been a nurse practitioner at Primary Pediatrics back in 2020, is that right?
That's correct.
I'm going to turn your attention back to November of 2020. Do you recall on November 17th, a child being brought in? And if you would, tell us what you remember.
Okay. On that morning, I was sitting in the office, which was on the back hallway of our office, and around 8:45-ish, I and another nurse practitioner heard a nurse hollering for help. So
When you heard another nurse yell for help, what did you do at that point?
So I left my office and walked to the hallway where she was calling for help from.
And what did you see?
I walked into the room, it was exam room 4 that they had put the baby in. I walked in there and the nurse, Casey, and, Casey was in there assessing the baby, and Amy Wood, who's the other practitioner that was with me, she walked on in there, and Casey said he's unresponsive with the doctor. So I then left the exam room and went to the doctor's offices and asked Dr. Ford's, Jesse and Robert to come to exam room 4.
So you ran and got more help.
That's right.
Now, what did you notice about the toddler? You said he was laying lifeless.
on the exam table, t-shirt and diaper.
And you described him as lifeless, so unresponsive.
That's right.
And after you went to get more help, what happened at that point?
At that point, I started talking with the guy that brought the baby in, and trying to get information, birthday, last name, what happened, kind of give us a history while they were working on Carter.
And did he give you any information about himself, who he was, name?
No name, no, he said I'm stepfather.
So he referred to himself as stepfather?
That's right.
And was he able to give you basic information about the child?
No last name, no date of birth. He just, said I'm mom's boyfriend. As he told me what happened through the night, he knew that he had breathing problems, but that was the only information I could get from him during that time.
During that time. So you sort of took on a comfort role for him?
Mhm.
Okay. And what is going on while you're talking to him?
They're resuscitating Carter.
So they're trying to perform life-saving measures?
That's correct.
While they're trying to perform life-saving measures, the other medical personnel in the office, did the man that you were talking to tell you anything else?
Yeah, I mean, he had told me that Carter had been vomiting all night, and that when he went to get him up that morning, that he was in a large amount of vomit and stool. And he knew that he had breathing issues, so he put him on the breathing machine. And as he had Carter on the breathing machine, Carter kept passing out. So he stopped and just brought him into our office because we were close. But on the way, he stated Carter bit me, or he was biting me.
Now, was he in the room, was he on the phone with anybody?
He was on FaceTime with Mom.
How were you able to determine who he was on the phone with?
He stated that.
And did you at that point know who mom was?
I had seen her in the office previously with Carter. No.
But you had physically seen her with Carter before?
I have.
And while everybody else in the room is working on Carter, did he say anything else?
I mean, yeah, he kept questioning, is Carter okay? Is he breathing? And he was talking to Mom on the phone, and he would say, I can't see, there's too many people in here. I just need you to hurry up and get here. And then he would ask again, he asked several times, was he breathing? And then he would rely that to Mom on the phone and just say, I can't tell, again, there's so many people in here, I need you to get here. Babe, that doesn't matter, I just need you to get here. Babe, that can wait, I just need you to get here. When I asked what Carter's last name was, we were trying to get basic information. He said, then to Mom on the phone, babe, what is his last name?
And you had mentioned you'd seen Carter in the pediatrics. And you remember mom?
Yes.
She was pregnant.
Mom,
Yeah.
Dad, different times.
And that would be biological then, right?
Yes.
Okay, not the man who brought him in that day.
Correct. I had never seen the man that brought him in that morning.
Thank you. Now, does the pediatrics place, do you keep medical records?
We do.
And are you familiar with how the medical records are kept?
I
You
am.
write notes yourself?
I do.
And you did that because you are a nurse practitioner.
That's correct.
So when you see patients, tell me that process.
Like in our office?
Yes.
Yes. So patients come in, I see them completely, document as I'm in the room, document when they leave. I fully document like a HPI, which is a history of present illness of what's stated from the parents or caregiver that's going on. Document my full exam, full treatment, diagnosis, and follow-up recommendations.
And have you previously reviewed any medical records for Carter?
At that point, no. I mean, I had seen Carter, so I had created medical records, but I had not reviewed them necessarily.
Well,
Is that what you're asking me?
let me clarify, that's a little bit confusing. Since then, have you reviewed medical records for Carter?
Only with you guys.
So you have.
Yes.
If I were to show you those medical records, would you be able to identify them?
Yes.
Mayor Motion.
You may.
Ms. Gaddy, if you would,
Tell me what this is. This is our medical record. This is what everybody gets when they come into our office.
for the record, Your Honor, I'm showing Ms. Gaddy what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1. And are these medical records correct?
That's correct.
And are they regularly kept in the course of business?
Yes.
And you review those medical records?
Yes.
Are those medical records for Carter?
Yes.
Carter Ambrose? And are they a clear and accurate representation of those medical records?
Yes.
Have they been changed or altered in any way?
No.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will tender into evidence State's Exhibit 1 medical records for Carter Ambrose.
They're admitted.
All right, Ms. Gaddy, if you would take a look at those. Before this date, the date of November 17th of 2020, you've been brought into the office. Right.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you had been previously seen for?
Cough, runny nose, low-grade fever. This one looks like he had been sick and just needed to kind of be cleared to go back to the sitter. Swollen mouth. Looked like he had eaten something maybe that caused an allergic reaction or swelling. Ear infection.
Make sure you're speaking up for me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Cough, breathing heavy, runny nose. That was a well child check on that one. Diarrhea and cough. We had some chest x-ray results that mom was called back about, cough, runny nose. These are just like inhaler refills for his inhalers. Hand, foot, and mouth, cough with a history of asthma. Well child check. Rash. Refills. Runny nose and breathing issues. Recheck ears, bump on his left butt cheek. Cough. Ear recheck. Cough. Cough and blowing my ears. Cough and sneezing. Bug bites. Cough, congestion, breathing hard. Runny nose and congestion. Well child check. And fever and congestion.
Okay. So these would be, say, breathing problems, stuff that you would see for small child.
That's right.
Nothing further at this time, Judge.
Mr. Carter, proceed with you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Gaddy. Are you still working for these people?
I am,
And how long have you been there?
10 years. Well, April will be 10 years.
April of next year, which
That's right,
means?
so 9.
Okay. And all those documents that you looked through as far as State's Exhibit 1, did you help, in the course of your employee, help generate all all that?
Not all, but some of the visits where I saw Carter,
Okay.
but not all.
Would there be sometimes that only you would see Carter, or you and one of the doctors?
Most of the time it would be that I would see Carter unless it would, I mean, if it were my visit, I would see him unless I felt the need to pull the doctor in on something.
Okay, all right. So how many doctors currently work there?
There are 4 doctors and 3 nurse practitioners.
Okay, tell me who the doctor, in November of 2020, who were the doctors there?
Okay, Dr. Robert Ford, Dr. Jessica Ford, Dr. Jill Waters.
All right,
The 4th one has been added since then.
and the documents that you have in this packet of papers reflects, visits that Ms. Davis had with the child, with either you or either one of the 4 doctors or with, Dr. Waters, is that right?
Or the other nurse practitioners in the office.
All right, or the practical, okay, that's
Yes.
fine. Now, do you know when this child was born?
I mean, I can look at a date of birth on here, but
January the 14th of 2018, does that sound about right?
Mhm.
All right, and, at the time that the child was born, was your facility used as, primary care for this child?
that's right.
Pardon?
When he was born.
Right.
I'm not sure when you started seeing us, when his first well visit was.
All right. And you were aware, are you not, that he was hospitalized less than a week into his life because he was having breathing problems, is that right?
Yeah, I'm not aware of that, no.
Okay. Do you know if Dr. Waters was involved in that?
Can't attest to that.
Okay. But nonetheless, there's plenty of evidence in there that this child had an asthma problem, is that right?
That's correct.
And a lot of other problems too, is that right?
I mean, we saw him most often for asthma, like cough congestion and
All
cold
right.
symptoms.
All right.
I wasn't aware of any other medical problems.
Okay. And you don't know of any other medical problems, do you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Were you aware that during the majority of this time that Carter was a patient at your place, that Ms. Davis lived with the child right down the road? Does that mean anything to you? If someone moves right next to where your doctor's office is at?
Objection, speculation.
Objection sustained.
Oh, I thought about that. And Ms. Gaddy, on the date that, November the 17th of 2020, were you there when the child was brought in?
I was.
And where were you located at physically?
When he walked through the front door, I was in the office, in the back of our office.
All right, and were you called upon to go check on the child?
When the nurse hollered for help, yes, I got it.
Okay, and who was it that hollered for him?
Casey Cochran.
And where was the child taken to?
Exam room 4.
And you went in there with whom?
Amy Wood, another nurse practitioner.
And is that when Dr. Robert Ford went in?
No, sir. Amy Wood went ahead and went into the room, and Casey looked at us and said he's unresponsive, I need a doctor, so that's when I went and got the doctors and left the room.
All right. And at some point in time, who was it that called 911? Or do you know?
I want to say there were maybe 2 people that called, but I'm not sure exactly who it was.
And at some point in time, did EMS eventually show up?
Yes.
Do you know how long from the time that EMS was there, was it from when the child first arrived at your place?
I'm not aware of that. I don't know the time frame.
Okay. Once the child was taken by EMS, did you have any other care for the child?
No.
Just a second. When you saw Carter that morning, did you notice anything alarming in his behavior or his condition?
He was unresponsive.
And I take it that you carried on a conversation with this man, Mr. Benton.
I did,
Did you?
I did,
And he told me, you knew who Carter was, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. And as a result of that, I mean, your office could just pull up you could go to his page or whatever, and you would know what to look for, is that right?
Once we had appropriate identifying factors, we could. But, I mean, we see a lot of Carters.
Okay,
So like just him walking in the door, we would not be able to say this is his full name and date of birth. But we would have access to that, yes.
did you have an opportunity to talk to Ms. Davis on FaceTime?
No, I was sitting here, the man that brought Carter in was directly beside me, and she was on FaceTime on his phone beside me. I never spoke to her on FaceTime.
And you were aware at that time she was about an hour away?
I wasn't sure where she was.
I mean, was it indicated to you that she was an hour away?
No, it wasn't.
I mean, you didn't know where she was?
I did not.
Okay. And did you have a chance, did she come to your place of business and talk to you afterwards?
She did not.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anything else for her?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Gaddy, what are the symptoms of an asthma attack?
Cough, there's obvious signs, nasal flaring, retractions, cough, wheeze,
What about throwing up
not of an asthma attack, no.
or bowel movements?
No.
None of them is what it should.
Ms. Greer?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Thanks, Ms. Gaddy. You may be excused. You're free to go or stay as you wish. You can leave the documents right there. Okay, we're gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna try to get a couple more witnesses in. Don't talk about the case. Don't let anybody talk about it with you. You can just leave your notepads in the chairs because we're coming right back in. There is water and coffee in the jury room. If you need a caffeinated beverage, the bailiff will walk you down. He won't buy, but he'll show you where the Coke machine is, or a cold caffeinated beverage. And if I have any smokers, if you will let the bailiff know, and they'll direct you to the appropriate place. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't talk about the case. You can go with Mr. Davis. Let's try to keep 15 minutes, please, Mr. Davis.
Okay, so ma'am is obviously out on bond because she got up, got her little wallet to go get herself something. I wonder, you know what I'm saying? Like she's navigating through the hallway. She could end up like in the bathroom with a juror. I wonder if they just, you know what I mean? Like she should be able to roam about because she's a free woman and she's innocent until proven guilty. I'm just saying, you know, for the jurors, yeah, they should send the jurors in a whole different direction. You know how they usually kind of try to keep the jurors, you know, apart, or hey, if you see someone, it's not rude to not speak or them to not speak to you type of thing. But girl, not my situation. Okay, let's speed because we got time on our side. Let's see. Let's make sure we're not missing anything. And let's get right here back to the seal and boom, guess what guys? We're back. Okay, let's get into it. I'm wondering, okay, so this is just day one. I don't know anything about this case. What we do know is this lady lost her child. Okay. This lady lost her child. I guess her boyfriend showed up to the clinic, urgent care facility, the doctor's office where they frequented, and the little man was unresponsive. Okay, the child. Mom was an hour away, and he's been treated for asthma. I don't know. Okay, we're listening. I don't know. We're just, girl. That's what I heard. Okay, up to now, that's what we have heard. That is what I know so far. Right? Did y'all hear about the same thing? Am I missing anything? This lady, something happened. Okay, something happened that made them think that this was a murder trial. We're just gonna keep on listening. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna go back on mute as soon as the judge calls back to order. Whew, baby. Hey, everybody, coming in, going out, tap in when you come in. Thank you so much. Florida Girl became a member, and Island Girl dropped a tip. Thank you, Boo Boo. I appreciate both of you so much. I appreciate all of you who are here. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure to subscribe. That's the only way you can set your notifications, so that you can be notified every time we go live, post a video, do all of the things. So make sure to subscribe so you can enjoy those notifications. And that's it for right now. Okay. That's it for the announcements. Okay. Um, let's see. I guess they're waiting for the jury to come back in. Okay, here we go. Why does she remind me a little bit of De'Ara Taylor? Any of my YouTube OG vlogging YouTubers? Anybody know who De'Ara Taylor is? Why is she giving me? Maybe it's because De'Ara wears her hair like that a lot, but she's giving me a little bit of like De'Ara Taylor vibes, a little bit. Okay, guys, I'm going back on mute.
Yeah, that's likely.
Raise your right hand. You swear a firm testimony about to give me the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Put your hand down. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Megan Kelly,
Can you spell that for the court reporter?
MEGANGKELLEY.
How are you employed, Ms. Kelly?
I work for a hospice now,
Okay.
but I did work for Private.
Okay, you used to work for Primary Pediatrics. When did you work for them?
2017, maybe 2020,
Okay.
maybe 2019.
Okay. For Primary Pediatrics?
Yes,
All right.
that's my youngest one.
Or were you working for them November 17th?
Yes,
Okay, so sometime after.
yes.
Okay. And what did you do for Primary Pediatrics?
I was a float nurse, one of the float doctors.
What is a float nurse?
I helped with basically anything. I took calls for the doctors. I helped with the nurse practitioner who was helping one of the doctors.
And I had mentioned November 17th of 2020. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
What do you recall about that date?
We had a very bad case come in, pediatric case come in. A little boy who was lifeless when he came in.
Okay. And do you remember what time it was?
It was in the morning time.
In the morning? Okay. So you said it was a very bad case. What were you doing that morning?
I was in my little cubby where I sit as a float nurse, and I was getting ready for the day. So I think it was right after we opened, and I was getting ready for the day, and I heard a lot of commotion and yelling. And one of our other nurses was coming into the supply room to grab code supplies.
Okay. And at some point, did you figure out kind of what was happening?
Yes,
And what was that?
I went out. There was basically a code in place. A pediatric came in either
did not have a heartbeat or lost a heartbeat on the tape.
Okay, and you said code. What does code mean?
Code blue, sorry.
Okay, what is code blue?
No, they're not breathing, they don't have a heartbeat.
Okay. And do you know who it was who was code blue?
At the time, I did not tell them to
Did
the
you,
room.
did you see at all who?
Yes, it was very small pediatric African-American boy, very pale, especially his feet and his hands, and just very lifeless.
Okay, so you heard yelling. Where did you see the child?
On the bed when I finally got to the room.
Okay, and do you recall which room that was?
It was on Dr. Ford's side, I believe room 4.
Okay. And what, did you go into the room?
Yes,
And what did you do when you went in the room?
I assessed the situation. I tried to ask the man who brought him in. At the time, I didn't know who he was until I asked questions. I asked him some questions, who he was, what happened, and then I just started working on the child.
Okay, when you started working on the child, what did you do?
I tried to place an IV.
Okay. And were others in the room with you?
Yes.
Okay. Who all was in the room with you?
Dr. Robert Ford was in the room, Jessica Woods was in the room, she's RN, Danielle Gaddy was in the room. The boyfriend, we thought was the stepdad at the time, he was in the room, and then the
So you said that you tried to put an IV in him. What were other people doing?
CPR was in place, oxygen was being placed on, and I know there was others outside calling 911. There was just a lot in commotion, and then trying to figure out what was going on with them.
And I mean, there was a lot of trying to figure out what was going on. So I mean, did you kind of figure out what was going on?
It was hard. It was from just bits and pieces of the story, but from what I gathered, he either had some breathing issues and was brought in, and I knew there was more to it than what was in our face.
Okay. So let me say this. Do you know who the man was who brought the child in?
At the time, no.
Okay.
I believe he was the boyfriend of the mother.
Did you have any interactions with him while he was there with the child?
Yes, I tried to ask the child's last name. I believe he was on the phone with the mom, and he had to ask the last name and date of birth and all the information.
And so you overheard them conversing? Okay. Was anything else said?
She sounded like she was at work, and he was telling her not to worry about something and just get here. He just kept saying, don't worry about that, get here.
Did he say anything about the child's symptoms prior to bringing the child in?
That he was throwing up and just having some breathing problems and very lethargic.
He just said the child was lethargic. He said the child was doing anything else.
I don't know.
Do you know how long y'all worked on the child?
Maybe 30, 45 minutes before EMS came.
Okay, before, so did somebody call 911?
Yes.
Okay, and so then EMS came?
Mhm.
Okay, and then what happened when the EMS got there?
EMS came, assessed the scene, took him to their truck and took him to the hospital.
Okay, do you know where they took him?
Peach County, I believe.
Did you do anything kind of after they took the child?
I just remember we all just kind of debriefed and tried to figure out what exactly just happened and did our statements while it was fresh on our brain.
And let me ask you this, do you recall the man who brought the child in, if he said anything about the child losing consciousness?
I believe so when he came in because he said he had been sick for a couple of days and had been vomiting and having diarrhea. And so he was kind of lethargic and in and out of it.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Group, she's with you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Kelly, my name is Jeff Groove. I'm a lawyer for Warner Robins. I have a few questions to ask of you representing Ms. Davis in this matter. Is it your recollection that this child was presented at your office on November the 17th of 2020 at about 8:48 in the morning? And I'm looking at subsequently you wrote a note or were asked to write down what your version of what happened was. Okay. Since then, and I think you've been to see the district attorney's office, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And I take it that you went over this statement that you wrote,
Yes, sir.
and once again, at that particular point in time, you were asking, or you heard shouts for either a nurse practitioner or Dr. Ford, because you were on this hall, is that right?
I was in the vicinity. I wasn't technically on his hall.
All right, but nonetheless, you answered the call, and was the child already, on the bed in room number 4?
Yes.
Did the child have any clothes on?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Did you look at the child, see if the child had any bruises or?
I did look at his arms when I went to do his IV and his legs, because they were very cold and kind of pale. But I didn't see any noticeably like bruises or cuts or anything like that.
You didn't see any bruises on his arms or his legs?
His arms or his legs.
Did you by chance have an opportunity to look at his chest to see if he had any bruises or discoloration or disfigurement or anything on his?
I don't remember because they were doing CPR. There was so much
Sure.
going on. I was trying to focus on trying to get him fluids.
Likewise, you couldn't tell us if there were any marks or anything on his back.
Yeah.
But there was nothing that caused you any concern as far as any bruises is concerned.
Yeah. That's right.
And I take it that they were trying to do, Dr. Ford, Robert Ford was doing chest compressions, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And that Dr. Jessica Ford was trying to, and Amy Blue were trying to put a mask on the child of some sort. Is it called an ambu mask?
For oxygen. Yes, sir.
Oxygen. And that was not going very well, was it?
I don't think so.
Okay. Had you ever, did you come to know who this child was?
Yes.
Carter Ambrose, is that right?
Yes.
Had you remember ever treating him before?
No, sir.
I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, do you know if he was a regular patient at your office?
From his records, yes, but I was not ever in his care.
Okay.
Not that I can recall.
At any point in time, did you have the occasion, we've seen several medical records of Carter. Have you had a chance to go over them?
I have not.
Now, let me ask you this, there was some testimony about the child had thrown up or vomited some previously. You heard that from the man that brought the child in.
Yes, sir.
Did you see any evidence of that?
Don't recall. I don't think so. I think he had said he had bathed him before coming in.
Okay, but did you smell any vomit on him?
I don't remember.
For the most part, the child appeared to be clean.
He did.
The child was unconscious, you say, the entire time that you saw him?
Yes, sir.
Pardon?
Yes, sir.
And was it your testimony that before EMS came to get the child, that was 30 to 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minute period of time, is that right?
About that, yes, sir.
And then EMS came, were you outside when the child was taken by EMS?
I was not.
You have no knowledge as to how long EMS, if you had the child outside before they took off?
No, sir.
Got no way of knowing. Did you ever get an IV in his arm?
I did.
You did. You had written in your statement that there was an attempt made to run fluids, but the IV blew. What does that mean?
Meaning once the fluid, so the needle was, it was in the vein, and then once the fluids were going through, the vein wasn't strong enough to hold it, so it exploded basically.
It did what?
It like expands, it pops the vein basically,
You wrote down that it was DC, what's that mean?
discontinued, so it's taken out.
Discontinued, okay. Just a second, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else, council?
Chief Peace.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly, you're free to go or stay as you wish. Call your next witness, please.
State calls Lisa James. Ms. James, you would raise your right hand. Do you swear firm testimony you shall give your report towards the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You would state your name for the record, please.
Lisa James?
Okay, and that would be just common spelling.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. James, what do you do?
I'm an RN,
How long have you been an RN,
16 years.
and where do you work?
I currently work at Habit Home Health.
Have you always worked there?
No, it just started.
Where did you work previously?
Peach County ER.
As an RN?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do for Beach County ER as an RN?
I was the charge nurse for day shift.
Explain to me what a charge nurse is.
I'm responsible for all the patients in the emergency room as well as the nurses and anything emergent that comes in.
So you're a nurse, but also from management too?
Yes,
Thank you.
I was at that time.
Thank you for clarification. Right, I'm gonna turn your attention back to November of 2020. Did you work at Beach County ER then?
Yes,
And do you remember a small African-American child being brought in at some point?
there was one brought in, yes, unresponsive, is that?
Tell me what you remember from that.
EMS called in reports, which we could hear in the ER, and we respond back, and they said they were coming in with a approximate, 2-year-old infant that was not breathing and had no pulse.
And did you observe the infant yourself?
Yes.
Tell me what you observed.
The infant was not breathing and did not have a pulse. The baby was, cold to the touch. His clothes were, wet. We don't, I mean, he was just covered from head to toe in water.
And do you recall if any ER nurses, anyone actually worked on the child?
I do not recall if we actually worked the child or not because he was already deceased at that point, and there had been some time frame in between.
So essentially what you observed was an unresponsive life of shock.
Yes.
Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
Mr. Graham.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. James, good afternoon. Ms. James, my name is Jeff Grove. I'm a lawyer from Warner Robins, here representing Ms. Davis in this matter. You say this was on the morning of November the 17th, is that right?
I'm not sure of the time frame.
Okay, but it was in the morning, or the morning shift, is that right?
Day shift.
This is about 9:30 in the morning, sound about right?
I honestly do not know the time, exact time.
Do you know if it either at the time of this incident or subsequent to the incident that you put together or prepared any sort of documents that you would be kept by the hospital as to what happened?
Yes, absolutely. The hospital should have that documentation from that day.
And have you talked previously with the district attorney's office about what your testimony would be today?
No, sir.
You
I
just,
mean, he subpoenaed me and we talked today, yes.
oh, okay. Now, I take it that the child came and the hospital, your hospital is right there off of John L. Sullivan Road, is that right?
Yes.
In Byron, are you familiar?
It's off 49 connected.
Okay, near Hauser Mill Road, is
Yes,
that right?
yes.
All right, and the child was transported by Houston EMS, is that correct?
I do believe so, yes.
I believe so. Okay. And, were you there waiting for the ambulance to get there, or?
Yes, sir.
When the child was brought in, was the child wearing any clothes?
The clothes that he did have on, were wet and soaked with what we assumed was
Okay.
water.
What was it? Did he have pants on or just?
I do not recall if they were pants or shorts.
Okay, but you recall that he was just wet?
Yes, sir.
You don't know if he just had a diaper on or anything?
No, it wasn't just a diaper. It was
Did you
just
notice
shorts.
any blood?
I did not know, sir.
Did you have an opportunity to see the child's arms and legs?
No, sir.
You didn't?
I don't understand what you're
I
asking.
mean, did you look at the child or examine the child yourself?
Yes, as well as the doctor.
All right, but but you made an observation, did you not, as to the condition of the child?
Yes.
Did the child have any bruises on
I did not know any bruises on the child.
it? And did you notice any blood coming from the child, whether it be from anywhere, from the nose, ears, eyes, anywhere?
I honestly do not recall.
Do you recall as to whether or not you were required yourself to do any tests or examinations of the child, you yourself?
Not me, myself, the doctor would.
Would that have been Dr. Becker?
Yeah, he was on staff that day.
Okay. I mean, do you recall as to which doctor?
It was, no, sir, I don't. It was 6 years ago.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, was the emergency room busy that morning, do you recall?
Emergency room can be busy, all times,
Sure.
any time.
But
But
on
I'm
this-
not sure
Okay. You still
of how
recall?
busy we were or were not.
And do you know as to whether or not there was anyone of the child's family that was with him at that time?
None of the child's family were with him at that time.
Okay, did any of the child's family arrive after the child was pronounced deceased?
I cannot tell you, I'm not sure. The officers, that came with or followed the ambulance, as well as our officers on scene, they keep us from all that.
I got you. And were you there when the child was pronounced deceased?
Yes,
Is your recollection was it was 9:38 in the morning?
if that's what was documented, yes, sir.
Okay, and you recall that, or you just agree?
As I said, it's been 6 years.
Sure.
I just go on my documentation from those events.
Okay, and once you received a subpoena to testify, were you asked to, or did you on your own go back over whatever notes or anything that you wrote down for that?
No, sir.
So you
Everything
just
would have been
basically-
kept within the hospital itself. I cannot access those records on my own.
Just that. That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Nothing further, Judge. All right, you can step down, Ms. James. Thank you, you're free to go or stay as you wish. Let me see council. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna stop here today. We're gonna start at 8:45 in the morning, okay? So I'm gonna ask you to be here a few minutes before then. Please wear your buttons back. It's not you guys tomorrow, right? Okay, so, the bells will be waiting for you. It won't be exactly the same people, but, at the top of the stairs, okay? So wear your button back. They'll get you in the jury room and we'll resume the presentation of evidence at 8:45. You're gonna leave your notepads in the room on the way out, so make sure you put your notes, your name on front of them, you just flip them closed to the first page if you're taking notes, and then y'all can, find your own in the morning. Don't talk about the case, don't let anybody talk about it with you. Don't go home and look something up. Some term you've heard, don't drive by any scenes trying to figure out where something happened. None of that, please. I need you to avoid the media that is reporting on or showing this case. So just, get your roommate or your spouse to do that, or make your life happier, skip the news altogether for a night. And then we'll resume in the morning, okay? Sweater or jacket, because like I said, I can't control it in here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may be excused. Go with Ms. Davis. They'll show you out the back way. Ms. Howard, if your back is bothering you, you need to be able to sit on the back row for me tomorrow, and that will be permission for you to do that as needed.
Can I also bring in a cushion?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
No problem. All right, council, since we have a little breathing room, let me talk about autopsy photos. If y'all got those, let me look at those and hear from you on that issue, since they are outside the presence of the jury.
It's currently marked as States Exhibits 2 through 11. Let me do it back to the judge. States 2 is just a picture of the child's face. Obviously, he's deceased. That's how the body was, or how the child was received. The bag open with, obviously, the DOFS number. Exhibit 3 is a picture of the child's face, injury to his cheek. States 4 are small injuries to his mouth and nostril. 5 is with his lip pulled forward. 6 is his torso with no clothes on, as is 7, 8, 9. 10 is his groin area. Obviously, he's not wearing clothes in any of those. All of these are pre-incision. They indicate injuries that are described in the report. States Exhibit 11 is a picture of the injury to the liver. The liver has been removed from the body. The rest of the child is not depicted in the photo. That would be the only photo at this point that the state is seeking to introduce. That would be post-incision, but again, that exhibit does not show the rest of the child's body. Obviously, these photos would correspond with injuries, Your Honor. They would be demonstrative of the injuries that the medical examiner would testify to.
All right, counsel, Mr. Groves, let me hear from you.
And of course, if you're not pleased, as I mentioned previously in the motion that I filed in motion that I object to the admission, really of any of these photographs. I talked to my client about them and we stand by our objection.
All right, the objections overruled. 2 through 9 are clearly admissible. Those are all pre-incision, and are relevant. 10 and 11, 10 is a picture of the genitalia with an injury. Again, I think that's relevant, and I think the photo is arguably necessary to explain or demonstrate what presumably the medical folks are gonna talk about. 11 is also post-incision, but it is the liver removed from the body, which is frankly less awful than a other kind of post-incision injury. And considering that appears to be at least significantly related to if not the cause of death in this case, I'm gonna allow it over objection. Mr. Cruz, you'll have a continuing objection for the record.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Since we've dealt with that issue, I just wanted the court to know that I submitted my request to charge earlier today.
I got them,
I think I left a copy for you and a copy that would need to be benchmarked or.
yeah, I'll make sure it gets,
I provided the state with a copy.
We have a copy on it, we have not been able to review it yet.
yeah, no, I'll get them e-filed and, let's aim for, maybe Wednesday morning, both of you. Let me have the state's request and then Ms. Groove, if there's something additional that's come up. Obviously, there's always stuff that comes up at the last minute that you wanna add. I'm not gonna prevent you from doing that. And you guys practice in front of me enough to know that I have already started. You don't have to give me or proof reasonable doubt, all the stuff we all know I'm going to give. But if there is something specific, or maybe a little different in this case, please make sure to get back to me by Wednesday morning so I have a chance to look at it. And we'll see where we are. I've started on a draft, so we'll just keep working through that as the evidence comes out, in order to be prepared for when it's time for that. What else?
And I would ask the court, in doing that, be mindful of the fact that, as I mentioned in my opening, I don't know that we've seen too many murder and second-degree cases come through this court. And I just want to make sure that we cover all our bases on that.
Yeah, this is actually the first one I've had. I think it's gone to trial. So there is a pattern charge. I would open it and read it to you right now, but I have discovered my computer has a glitch because I tried to pull it up earlier.
Well, I quoted the code section.
Yeah.
All I did.
And I think, but there's actually a pattern, so I think we're good. But we'll hit that as we go through.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything else?
Nothing to say.
All right, 8:45, we're gonna start in the morning. I will be in before that if something blows up overnight.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all know where to find me. All right, we'll stand in recess. Yeah. Ask Angie. Y'all go ahead, I've got to mess with my computer, so don't wait on me. Ask Angie to step in here. I can't, my word's perfect, I can see it over here. It's on this screen, in the camera view of the screen that is not on there over here. And I think it's the same problem we need to fix it. And I wish care except I put charge, and I can't open it.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I had to walk away for a minute. Okay. I'm here. I'm here. I had to walk. Y'all, you already know what I was doing. I'm not going to say. I was cooking dinner. I had to go cook dinner. And I walked away for a minute and came back and it was over. My bad. Thank you. Thank you to the person who sent me a note. My bad. Sorry. You guys, so what are you guys thinking so far? Do you guys feel like there was a rush to judgment when this mom came into the doctor's office and people started making assumptions? I guess, I mean, we haven't heard
Honestly,
all of the
these,
evidence yet. We don't really know what's, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no idea what's going on in this case. None. Other than this lady lost her son. He had asthma problems. Um, he sounded like it sounds like he was being well attended to, as far as this is not a kid that never went to the doctor. They brought him to the doctor with sniffles. They brought him to the doctor with bug bites. I'm not saying overly, but you know, sometimes the first, new mothers, some people who are just, some people like to bring their kids to the doctor a lot, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm not making a judgment. This is more of what I'm saying. Seems to be a mom or parents who had their kid attended to and wasn't a stranger to the doctor's office as far as having their kid checked out. So what I'm saying is clearly they care about their kid. Now, I really, we're just gonna have to see how this plays out because we haven't heard from the medical examiner. We haven't heard, I haven't heard any of the circumstantial evidence as to how they put this together yet. So I'm trying to not make too much of a judgment call. Um, Other than this family, this person comes in with a boy. I think he's the boyfriend. I guess the father comes soon after, or father comes in, quickly. Mom is an hour away. She's on her way. I guess she never makes it to the doctor's office. Maybe they end up at the hospital. And so it goes, mom with a new boyfriend. So, I mean, it could be mom's boyfriend. And at the end of the day, you left, I mean, if the circumstantial evidence is you left your child in the care of this man, not his father, and this happened, we're holding you responsible. Maybe that's what it is. We're going to find out. We're going to find out, because if mom's boyfriend is a problem, we getting ready to find out. Now, how do you explain the trauma to the lower region? Girl, we going to have to wait. I don't know. I'm not explaining anything. I'm just kind of repeating what I heard as I was, girl, in the kitchen trying to put together a meal, okay? Cuz you know what time it is. Girl, my family expects food out of me. Boyfriend is going to testify against her. So, maybe she is that attentive mother, but maybe she has, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're just speculating right now, okay? We don't really know. Um we're going down speculation avenue. We don't really know. Um I'll put together some news stories and see what I can find about what they said. Not only the injuries in the lower region, but also the liver laceration. Yeah, I mean, maybe the child did sustain some sort of a beating. Um, you know, we gonna listen, and this is the interesting thing. Okay, everybody's brains are working. Everybody is like, we're trying, we're kind of throwing questions out, which is a good thing, right? Because we do follow a lot of cases over here that maybe we've been following since we saw the first news story. Okay, we follow cases over here, baby, when they make the arrest and we're watching the bond hearing. This is a cold case for me. And I mean cold as in, this is absolutely fresh and new. I really don't know all of you know what I'm saying? This is absolutely a cold trial for me. as far as not knowing all the deets. Okay. So it'll be interesting. And we're going to continue to talk and put our little investigator hats on and see what we can come up with and understand. But they came up with the case some type of way, huh? Even following a very ever since girl been following ever since Casper was a ghost too. You've been following this case since Casper was a ghost? Well, let us know because we hadn't. I mean, I just heard about this like I was in my other live and somebody threw it out like, "Hey, are you following da 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 da?" And I was just like, no. Not because for nothing, I just didn't know anything. Oh, you've been following trials. Yes, I've been following trials and all of that for a long time, but as far as this case is concerned, I don't know much. And I looked on the whew, Houston County Clerk of Courts, and baby, I see the indictment. I don't see the initial police report, the criminal complaint, or the affidavit. We'll see what we can find, but I'm gonna let y'all go, y'all. I've had a very long day, and this was interesting. So thank you to our good sis or good friend in the audience who bubbled this up. We'll go ahead and shut this down. I don't know what time they're starting tomorrow. I would guess probably regular time. Um, so we'll get it popping tomorrow. Probably I'm gonna say maybe 10ish. We're gonna go ahead and let it play out a little bit. They're starting at 8:45. We'll be starting at probably 9:45, 10 o'clock. That way we can speed through lunch. Um, you know what I'm saying? That seems to work better. Everybody can get to work, get their coffee. I can do Love Lies and Lacefronts, where we do reactions, reviews, and commentary on the YouTube social media channels you love to watch. And then I'll be, yeah. We'll get into it around 9:45ish, 10 o'clock. That way, we will be right on time to when they go to lunch. We won't have a lot of time for break. We'll just kind of bake in our break time. I'm wondering if there is not a history of physical abuse, but isolated incident that just happened and resulted. What if let me just say this. What if everything was lovely up until she met the new boyfriend? And baby, it was downhill after that. Maybe he's no bueno. You know what I'm saying? Maybe sir is absolutely no bueno and we don't know. You know what I mean? Everything might have been fine. Maybe there's no history of nothing. Maybe she just got with the wrong dude. This kid seemed to be well taken care of. They had all kinds of doctor's appointments, sniffles, bug bites, well child visits. Most abusers, and I'm not saying all, let's just say some negligent parents, they don't run their kids to the doctor. They take them when they absolutely have to. And by 2 years old, your kid may have seen a doctor maybe 5 times. This kid was at the doctor, I think they named at least 10 to 12 visits. And this kid had asthma. So this kid probably was getting seen every quarter on top of just the regular cycle of shots and for a new baby, for a toddler too. You're going to go 2 weeks after you're born. You're going to come back a few weeks later. You're going to come back in 6 months. You're going to come back at 1 year. You're going to come back. It seemed that there were visits over and above that. Maybe it's possible she met a bad dude. I don't know. Y'all, we finna to find out. Okay. Hey, Mocha Boo. No, we're not, because it's actually not tomorrow. It's Wednesday. Wednesday, hun. I thought it was tomorrow, but it's the 15th. I was off a day. It's the 15th, not the 14th. Y'all, if all the people that dropped off, they don't know. Good. Whoever makes it to this point. How long were we? Let me see. Did everybody hit the thumbs up? I'm all of Bougie Gang. I know y'all did, because y'all handle that business. Did you guys handle that business? Anybody who's here who did not watch the first live, can you put a bingo in the chat? If you missed the first live, can you go handle that business when this one is over, please? We fix to find out. We fixing to find out, or we fix to find out. It just depends on what part of the South you from. We fix to find out, or we fixing to find out. You don't have to tell me which one you use. It's fine. Let's see. We ride with you until you guys. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. Look, let me check the likes. Ow. Okay. Well, we have 132 likes. Okay. So Mocha, I'm at Mocha Wednesday at 2 p.m. Okay. It doesn't. Let me tell you something. When this Wednesday at 2:00, baby, we are going to take a break, and I'm gonna make a live. And Wednesday 2 p.m. We're going to. We might even be, girl. We might just look. I'm not gonna say. Let me just. We're gonna handle that business. Trust and believe. And you can be live. You can have two lives going at the same time. Do you guys know that? Who knows that? Does everybody know that? I'm sure you guys know that. You can actually, so just don't, y'all, I got this, okay? This is what I'm going to say. If ma'am is being falsely judged, like let's just say her doctor's office is a bunch of Karens, okay? I don't know. I mean, it took 2-3 years. It's not like they immediately took her to jail, right? It's not like they immediately took her to jail. I don't know that it might have just been a bunch of people doing their job. Now, it sounds like they had to have done an autopsy. Maybe they felt like it was just, everyone doesn't get an autopsy, but a 2-year-old dying is kind of, I guess they would want to know. And maybe they felt like it was suspicious circumstances with the fact that maybe it was a boyfriend. I don't know, y'all. I'm not sure. I'm going to listen again to the opening because I was very distracted by Mr. Matlock, and girl, I was trying to handle cooking business at the same time. So my bad, y'all. I'm going to re-listen, and let me see. How long was it on that screen before? Okay, let's see. Y'all weren't alone for too long. One of our good friends, one of our Bougie Gang friends came and told me. She sent me a message. Y'all were on the screen for like what, 2 minutes, maybe? Okay. And y'all were over there at Fran, like I forgot you guys at the store. Like I left you in the toy aisle, and I'm all the way over in makeup at Walmart. Okay. We finna to find out, okay? We finna find out. Okay, we fixing to, we fixing to, and we finsta, okay? There's levels to this Southern thing, okay? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay? Anyway, you guys, love you, mean it. We might do a very fast down and dirty member live tonight. So just have your notifications set, okay? Sis tired. I did a live this morning on my other channel. I went and had a very relaxing facial. I don't think I told you. I think I told you guys, but I didn't tell my other channel. I was going to get a facial. Y'all, they didn't con me. Let me not say it like that. They convinced me. Excuse me. Why was I saying conned? They convinced me very easily because, girl, I was so relaxed after my facial. The lady Natalia, she was so good. I joined the membership, so I got myself 2 facials a month with 2 body treatments, 2 mani-pedis. I bought in. I bought in for a whole year. I was like, "Sure, why not?" Boom. Girl, I was running out the mall. I was like, "I cannot. No. Mm-mm." But it was good though. It was really good, and I'm looking forward to it because I was like, it is good to take a little time away out the day to do something for yourself, especially us hardworking mamas. Um, so I'm excited. I'm excited. So I did that, and then I came home. And soon after I came home, I think within an hour of me coming home, I came live and we talked about Sarah Grace and Sean Hoover. And no sooner did we shut down Sean Hoover, we've been live for 2 hours on this. So baby, sis been running. So I'll see you guys a little bit later, okay? If you're new here, don't be scared. Go ahead and hit the subscribe, set your notifications. We talks about it all over here. A little case, a little court, a little conversation. All of the things. So make sure to subscribe and set the notifications, hit the thumbs up. And I'll see you guys a little bit later on. Okay. All right, you guys have a good evening. I'll check you guys out in the morning, and members, I'll see you guys a little bit late in some hours. We'll talk. Okay. Vera is going to want a member. So I can get 2 facials a month. So they gave me my facial today for free. Girl, because yeah. And so we're going for next week. I'm taking her. So she'll get one next week with me. And that'll be my 2 for July. And yeah, it's gonna be good. Yeah, I can take her with me. I can use it how I want to. They're very cool. I'll tell you guys all about it. If you're in Charlotte and want to know about it, it's actually the new little day spa that opened up right across from Zara in South Park Mall. So when you come outside of Belk, it's like if you're standing in front of Zara, just look across from Zara. It's like a little day spa, and it's very cute. They're very nice. I saw them last time I was in the mall, and I didn't think anything of it. So yeah, it was very convenient and very relaxing. So now I just want to take a very nice nap because the food is done. It's 6 o'clock. My husband ate. Farrah's upstairs. I just wrapped up all the food, and I'm going to go lay my ass down for a minute, relax, and I'll see you guys, members, in about 3 hours, like 9ish. I'll call you guys and we'll have a little chitty chat. And if you're not a member and you want to be in with the in crowd, come on. Okay. Come on. Shum on. I will see you guys later on this evening. Okay. Y'all take care. Bye.